Hello, Liana. So, um, how are you? That's early morning in Canada now.
Oh yeah, no, I got to sleep in. It's 10. It's 10 a.m. here.
Oh, okay. And where exactly are you at the moment?
I'm in Montreal, Quebec.
Okay. And you're at a school, a drama school, or tell me a bit more about the school.
I'm at the National Theatre School of Canada.
Okay.
Mhm.
And what are you studying?
I'm part of their acting program at the moment. It's a 3-year program.
I see. Okay. And in this time of the lockdown, what happened to you last year in was it in March as well? Did you lock down then as well?
hmm Um, well, at that time, I was studying at Queen's University, which is in Kingston,
Yeah.
and I was in my first year of university, and they like locked down in March, and so I had to stop my studies there, or I not stop my studies. It went all online,
Yeah.
um, and it was very there was a period of a lot of uncertainty because I wasn't sure where I was going to be next year because I had applied for the school, but I hadn't had my audition yet, and I hadn't gotten a call back yet, so um, it was an interesting point in time.
Yeah, but that is very interesting that you're saying that now, because how did they do the auditions then? I mean, what would have normally happened in normal circumstances? Would you have to go to the school to do the audition?
In normal circumstances, they tour Canada for the auditions, so they go to major cities in every province,
Mm,
and then you can apply, and then you travel to that city, and then you perform a monologue. You perform two monologues, and then you answer some questions. Um, and then if they liked what they saw, they would invite you for a callback, and then you would have to travel to Montreal,
mm.
where you and 40 other candidates would be there for a 2-day workshop.
Yeah.
So obviously that couldn't be the case this year. So they had started the tour and they made it to Ottawa. And I was one of the last people who were able to do the audition in person. And
Oh, I
then
see. Okay, so you had the chance then. Yeah.
yeah, and then from there they only allowed video submissions.
Okay.
So then people um, would be able to like record themselves doing their monologues and answering preset questions, and then they could send that in.
Yeah.
Um, so and then if they looked at all of those and they like looked at the ones that had been in person, and then they did invite people for a callback, but obviously the callback couldn't be in
Oh, yeah.
Montreal. It couldn't be on person, so it was a Zoom callback,
Oh, I see.
and it
Okay.
was still 2 days.
My goodness. And then how did, I mean, was that obviously Zoom is a bit different than real life. And how did that go? And or how did they do that?
Yeah, I had the unique experience because I had auditioned the year before and had gotten a callback the year before, so I knew what a callback would have been like if it was in person. And
Mm,
I think they did a pretty good job.
mm.
Um, yeah, it's definitely more difficult. I'm not sure how they like selected their candidates, but we got through like a lot of material. Everyone performed their monologues for each other. Everyone sang a piece of music for each other. Um, we like went out into breakout rooms and had scene work with a partner.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
there was like a Q&A
Mm.
and an interview process, a one-on-one interview process. Um, yeah, and it was also just a good chance to like meet the other people who want to pursue theater and other people who are as like interested and committed as you are. So
Yeah.
I
But I mean, it's also different on Zoom if you have to meet people like that than meeting them in real life. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's definitely different. And it definitely it definitely wasn't the same experience as what I had in person. My in-person experience was like very special, and I learned a lot, which helped me prepare for for the next year's audition, because
Mm.
my first time around I wasn't quite ready.
Okay.
So I like gained a lot of new experiences from this in-person experience, just because it was like in the space, it was like at the actual school,
Oh,
you
yeah.
could like meet your instructors, you could see upper year students, you could like gain access to the atmosphere, which are
Mm.
all like important parts of making your choice and then
Yeah.
making their choice. So I feel rather lucky that I got to see it and like
Mm.
feel it and know that yes, I do actually want to be here.
Mm. Yeah, that is that part as well, as is that you have to be at the school or be around there to to think, okay, this is what I really want to do before you head in to go and study. Yeah. And so okay, so when did you get the news then?
Our callbacks were in May,
Yeah.
end of May, and then you hear pretty soon afterwards. I think a week went by, a few days went by, and then I got a phone call from the artistic director of the English section, Elisa Palmer, and she was like, "Oh, Leanna, we'd love for you to come
Oh,
to,
wonderful.
to be a part of our class of 2023." And I was like, "Oh, yay!"
Oh,
um,
I can just imagine. Yeah.
yeah, I was like dancing around my kitchen, and I was like,
Oh,
"This is
really?
so great!" Yeah.
Um, okay, and then you started in September. So
Mhm.
were the classes normal as they, or how did they divide? How big are your classes?
Yeah, so there were a lot of things changed to accommodate the pandemic, obviously, and to make sure that everyone felt safe. Um, so usually you're there on Monday until Saturday from 8 to 5.
Hmm.
Um, and everyone, all the classes, all the years are there at the same time in the same building. But they wanted to reduce the amount of people in the building all the time, and they also
Oh,
reduced the amount of hours that people were in the building. So it was kind of like a hybrid in-person, online
okay.
situation.
Hmm.
Um, and for my class, we're a class of 12, which is already a very small cohort, which is great.
Yeah, yeah.
They split us into two different groups of
Mm,
6. So then on Mondays and Wednesdays, one group would go in, and then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, another group would go in
mm,
for morning training and for our core classes like voice and movement. And then after lunch, we have this block of time called projects, which is like filled with guest instructors that come in for a couple of weeks to teach us
mm.
specific things. So then we would be all together in a bigger room for
Okay. Yeah. And did you have to, or do you have to wear masks while you do the classes? You
yeah,
do.
yeah. Yeah, we have to wear masks whenever we're in the building.
Okay.
And yeah,
How do
we
you
have to
find
be
that with
so
acting?
um there's I think everyone is trying to see it as a learning experience. They're
Oh,
trying to
okay.
like see
Yeah.
it as a way to um like deepen the other aspects of
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
so
Mm,
like there's um so it means like, oh, acting like with your eyes, like being more expressive with your voice, engaging your body language, because you can't see the person's mouth, so you have to use other body cues to
yeah.
like hook in to your like scene partner into like what you're
Mm.
doing together as a class.
Because, sorry, I just have to. This is Lily, by the way. I just have to.
I know, Lily.
Lily
Oh my
one.
goodness. She's gorgeous.
Lily was chewing a bone to keep her busy, but for some reason, when I talk on Zoom, she always wants to be part of it. Nee, Lily, jy moet nou sit. Kom. But I spoke to an actor, and he actually said to me that, you know, the lower part of the face is so important in acting. And it's interesting now that you are really sort of trying to use all these the other aspects, because basically, as you say, it's really just this part, if you think of it, that's not active, and the rest of your body. And so that's actually a very positive thing in a way, because it explores different ways then.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to when we can.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because with our Zoom classes and our Zoom performances, we obviously don't need to wear masks, and it does make a huge difference. Just both for a technical sense, because you can look at their lips moving. Like the mouth is a very expressive part of the face. I'm like looking at my mouth as I speak now.
Okay.
Yeah, and it like conveys a lot, so it's hard to like it's hard to like pay more attention, because you can't just rely on looking at the mouth. You have to be hearing the words and like processing the words.
I understand. Yeah. Tell me about what made you interested in drama. What was the
it's a good question. I love stories. I love storytelling. I grew up, I mean, my mom was a big reader, and both my brothers were big readers, so I grew up reading a lot of books, and I grew up watching a lot of films with my mom. And I was in grade 6 when I auditioned for my first musical, and it was Alice in Wonderland, and I played the Cheshire Cat.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the reason why I like it so much is it gives me a lot of energy, whereas a lot of other things I do, or a lot of other parts of school, drains you.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Or like takes away sometimes. But drama and theater has always like given me so much more.
You know that your dad and I were in a musical together.
I do. He told me. I'm so glad. He said you played Anita.
Yes, but I can't sing. But anyway, it's. But we did it, yes, by hook and by crook, yeah. But I love that. I love the theater, and I would have loved to do drama, yeah, and go and study drama, yeah. But yeah, you were saying, and carry on, yeah, and
yeah, I think there's something really special getting to embody other people, other things. I think it exercises our empathy muscle, and I think it makes me a better person. It makes me more aware of why people do the things they do. It makes me more aware of history and like how we ended up here. It makes me ask a lot of questions that I don't think I would have asked. And it makes me curious about the people around me, and that makes life a lot more exciting and like more joyful.
Well, this is actually why I think, and I talk to a lot of artists about that, but that's why I think that we should, you know, all children should be able to study art or some form of art. These things that you mentioned, these are the things that really children should experience and have the ability to, like you say, the empathy part, looking at the world in a different way, questioning. And what was the education for you like in normal school in Canada? Do you just do the normal subjects, or was art a big part of your schooling?
Um, we did have art class. We had, and it was like art class split into three parts. So there was like visual arts and music
Oh
and
wow.
and
Yeah.
drama. So you like dip your toes into a few things. I remember that in elementary school.
Mm,
Um, but then there was always like after school activities that you can volunteer for. So the musical or the improv team or orchestra, that type of thing. So I grew up doing a lot of extracurriculars. My mom and dad put me into a lot of extracurriculars, which I'm grateful for now because it
yeah.
gave me a lot of the skills that I am using now.
Mm,
And like you said, it's really valuable when you're a little kid, when you're just starting out, um, just to be involved in some type of performance, in some type of um, performance, because it gives you a lot of skills. You're always like you're immersed in music or in movement, and you're usually with other people, so you're like interpreting things with other people, you're like collaborating with other people to like form one piece of art, or like to work towards a goal which you then like
mm,
present in front for like family and friends. So you're like sharing what you've learned, and you're like sharing the joy that came with it. So it's like I think it's a very healthy process.
mm. And is that the norm in Canada to have that in all the schools, or was it just where you lived, the school that you lived?
I think it depends. I think it
Mm,
depends what province you're in. It depends if you're going to a public school or a Catholic school or a private school.
okay.
Um, and I think it also depends what your family values,
Mm,
and like what what they kind of like push you towards, or like edge you towards.
yeah.
Because people have different priorities and different values. So
Mm,
uh, yeah, I mean, there was always an emphasis in school on like maths and sciences because those are important subjects.
mm,
Um, but yeah, I think people um, underestimate the power of the arts, and underestimate how much it can do for you as like a human being, for your humanity and for your curiosity and imagination.
exactly, yeah. Because I sometimes think if we could teach art alongside maths and science, that would also, change the way people think, and also the brain development can also help then in all these subjects. If you look at
Absolutely.
art, or if you look at music, for example, if you learn music, also the way you think is also different, and yeah. So yeah, you are just now proof, because on the other hand, it's also not all parents who have the means to pay for extra lessons and things like that. So
Mhm.
if all children could have the opportunity in school, then at least then they have that, and they have those skills. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I've been very lucky, very privileged, just in the way I grew up and the opportunities I was given. Um, yeah, and I'm very, very, very grateful for it every day.
Yeah. And tell me now, when you are now in during your training, um, what is the aim? What would you like to do afterwards? Would you like to do this as a profession?
Fun. No, that's a good question. Um, I had a I had a talk with one of my teachers a few weeks ago, and it was about the difference between being an actor and being an artist,
Mm,
and what this program was trying to do. So, and I think what this program is trying to achieve is to make you into an artist, not just an actor, because um, an artist, to become an artist, it'll like give you the tools to do like so many different things in the world of theater. And it's also putting the emphasis on creation, and putting the emphasis on like telling your own stories, or finding what's important to you, or um, not being afraid to like think critically, and to like ask difficult questions. Whereas if you're becoming an actor, it's almost like one faceted, or
Yeah.
one-sided, because there's a lot that goes into it. But if you're informed by like your own artistry, and like you're bringing your whole self into it, and you're like deepening and widening your like craft, then it can't do anything but make it better, you know.
Mm.
Yeah, so I'd love to pursue acting. I'd love to pursue writing. I'd love to try writing. I don't have a lot of experience with writing, but just in this course we've had a chance to do some creation work where you're like devising a show from scratch with your classmates. And we also interact a lot with the first year playwrights, because over the course of the next 3 years, the first year playwrights are writing a play that we'll be performing in our third year.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, so we get to read and talk about like their other works in progress. So I get to like see a little bit of what goes into writing a play, which is so much work and so many drafts, and I'm just like in awe, really. um, yeah, there's also a program at Concordia University, which is also in Quebec, and it's centered around mental health and creative therapies with drama and visual arts and dance and music. So I've also been thinking about that. I wouldn't mind. I'd love to go back to school and do some more learning after even.
Oh, okay. But it's interesting that you say that also about the playwright, that you didn't know all the what goes into it. And I'm talking to artists really also about um, if we don't really know a lot of what goes on behind the scenes, and what artists really do, and how things, like for example, in a concert, you see the people dressed in concert dress and performing, but you don't know about the hours of work behind. And now you're talking about the this film writing or script writing, and how many, how much work goes into that. um, do you think it's a good idea also that artists start talking about the art, not just promoting themselves as an artist, but really talking about the art? Like you're saying now, what is this that makes this piece so wonderful, and what is the inspiration behind it, and really talking about why the writer why the writer did it, or wrote it, and things like that.
Oh, it's so important. It's definitely my favorite part of the whole process,
Mm,
is because everyone is so excited to be there, and everyone is so invested and committed to creating something. And like we don't know what that something is until we have these conversations with our colleagues, right?
mm,
um, I think it I think I also have to give credit just to the like educational aspect to it, because I don't know if the professional world does this or makes this a priority.
mm.
So I'm like grateful for these 3 years, because I'm doing a lot of learning, not just about myself, but about the whole, what all the little cogs and screws and wheels are a part of this like big machine. Um, yeah. So
But that could be, some of that could be available for everybody, and that would make people maybe look at art in a different way. If I think, for example, I studied interior design, and uh, there was a architect and designer, Charles Rennie Mackintosh, and I used to not really understand what his designs were all about. And the first time I saw some of his architecture, I thought well, it didn't really appeal to me until I read why he did it, how he designed, or
Mm.
how he used the different elements. And um, now, of course, I can see that in a different way, and I see these designs in a different way. And I always think of that in music as well, and in drama. And if we understand a little bit more, then our interpretation of it will also be different, than just thinking, no, I don't understand it, so I don't watch it. um yeah.
I really like that. I think sometimes people find theater unapproachable,
Mm.
or it same goes for ballet or classical music. Um, there's there's some like barriers to really like diving in as someone who has like no experience with it themselves. So I absolutely agree with you. There's something, yeah, there's something to explore there.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, for me, sometimes when I speak to a musician and they start talking about a piece of music, or what something about Beethoven, it makes me so inquisitive to go and listen to this music, because of the way they tell it, the story, or the way they tell how they experience it, or why they find it so beautiful. And this is why I think this sharing should uh, start happening, that we could appreciate also what the artists are doing, and also the different forms of art.
Hmm.
Yeah.
There's definitely
Yeah.
there's a balance between showing someone a piece of art and then wanting to learn more about it, and showing someone a piece of art and then being like, I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, so I think that's like an extra challenge for someone who's
Mm.
creating art, to think
Yeah,
about how can how can this inspire others to
exactly.
also want to be a part of it.
Yeah. But listen, what did you do, on a lighter note now, what did you do during lockdown when you had more time?
Oh,
Uh,
fun. Yeah, over the summer, I
yeah.
was at home in Regina.
Mm,
Um, I got to spend time with my family there. And then for June and July, I drove to Calgary, which is a 9-hour drive to
mm,
Alberta. And
mm.
I helped to take care of a baby cousin of mine.
Oh, okay.
So that was very fulfilling. I hadn't had that experience before. So
You
that
were
was
a
that
nanny.
was so,
You
yeah, I was a nanny.
so you have some sort of idea what it is to raise a child, or to
Yeah,
have a baby.
a little bit. Yeah, he's 3.5. He just turned 4 in March. So no, it was lots of fun.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Um,
kids are definitely a different type of audience. Yeah,
yeah.
like, and kids interact a lot different with art. So that's
Mm.
like very exciting.
Would that be also something you would be interested in, or
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
really?
Yeah, no, I'm working, or this summer, me
Mm.
and two of my classmates are hoping to put together a theater for young audience show
Yeah.
that's like improvisational based
Oh,
to
wow. Yeah.
um yeah, for like specifically for kids. So we're like workshopping it right now, but oh yeah, kids,
That's amazing.
yeah,
Yeah,
kids aren't afraid to show their enthusiasm.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's what I think too. And I think this is why it's so important to start teaching art at a young age, while children are still so um, without inhibitions, really, you know, that they just do it and not think too much. Yeah. But tell me, what is your wish for when this is all over?
Hmm. Yeah, my wish is that the we'll have a deeper appreciation for what we didn't have
Mm.
for months and months and months and months. I think people are. I think there's going to be a lot of like reunions and like
Mm.
gatherings to share and to see and to witness as a group and as like a collective. And I think people are just gonna love it so much more than before. Um, my wishes, yeah, my wishes. I think a lot of people have like taken the time over the last few months to be like very reflective, just because that's all you really could do because you're stuck
Yeah.
inside. Um, so I'm excited to see what comes out of that like period of reflection and like meditation almost. Um, yeah, I think yeah, something along those lines.
Mm. As students, do you find it also difficult to have the student life that, I mean, you only have student life really once in your life, that those
Mhm.
years, those young years, and is it very much affected um, at the moment for you? Do you miss those interactions with your fellow students?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there's a lot of there's a lot of there's a lot of like downsides to the situation
Yeah.
we're in, and yeah, I feel like I should know people a lot better by now. Like I've known them for almost like 8 months, 9 months. I feel like I should know them a lot more, but
Mm.
just because of the circumstances we're in, that's not a possibility.
Mm.
And I mean, I know a lot of my friends in university who have been online the whole year, have been in one room, and I don't know. It's like it's disappointing just because you're promised this experience. You're promised, oh, this is going to be like such a great time in your life. You're going to do so much learning. You're going to meet a whole bunch of interesting, cool people who you'll get along with, and then that doesn't happen. And so there's obviously like a void or like a gap,
Yeah,
and you're kind
yeah,
of left wondering,
yeah.
yeah. So
Maybe, like you say, it will be so much because it's always this thing when we lose something or we don't have something, then we appreciate it so much more.
mhm,
So
mhm,
yeah, I don't, I mean, I've photographed a lot of students here of the music in university, but of course it's a bit different than I mean, it's they still have a campus here and so on, so it is also very isolated. But yeah, I think it's this thing, knowing, getting to know one another, and not having the masks and that more openness. I think that will be so much more appreciated when it's normal times again, new normal.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
The new normal.
yeah. I also wonder if and we wouldn't know, but I wonder if you as artists will uh, create things differently because of this time, you know, that you will always have this sort of in the back of your minds when creating without even realizing, but that there will come things, there will come art from this time, from this
Mhm,
period, that we would really look back and say, oh yes, that was during the pandemic.
mhm. I've been thinking this. I've been asking myself the same question.
Mm.
I think there's going to be a lot of weird art, a lot of like just because so many people have been like restrained
Yeah.
and like put in boxes and like you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. So I feel like once everyone's like out of their box, but everyone's just gonna go crazy for like 6 months just to get it out of their system.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely think there's gonna be an art boom when this is all over, or when we're in the new normal. Just because now we can,
Yeah,
and nothing can stop us.
exactly. I think so too. And I think also in theaters, audiences will go and you know, want to experience these things again, live concerts and performances and so on. Yeah. So
Yeah. So I think, yeah, I think we gotta bide our time, sit
yeah.
tight, and I mean everything is cyclical. So right now
Exactly.
we're at the bottom of the circle, and we're gonna be on our way up soon.
Yeah. I think it will, I think we will still also look back at this time and think, oh, wow, you know, that was actually wonderful. Or those times were actually one. I think there will be definitely from this time things that we remember as being good, you know, as being nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I think if there's anything that we learn from this, it's to be grateful for what we have. So I'm sure we'll look back and see the things that we were grateful for during this
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like it's been difficult. Like it hasn't been easy for anyone, and for some people, it's been worse for other people. And I I think it's like important. It's important to acknowledge all of those, all of the like the negative feelings, the negative impacts, because it'll inform us in the present and for the future.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was so lovely to talk to you and to meet you on Zoom.
Yes, thank you.
um, and send my love to your dad and your mum. I don't know your mum, but I know your dad very well. And it was so lovely that I could talk to you and have this perspective from a drama student in
Yeah.
Canada. Yeah,
Thank you.
that's
Thank you so much for
wonderful.
asking me. I'm glad we could have a chat.
Yes. So, you don't mind if I post this on YouTube?
No,
Okay.
please do.
Okay. Okay. Good. But thank you so much and have a lovely rest of the day.
Thank you.
Are you
You
going
too.
to class now?
I'm headed to class in I think about an hour. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, then have fun.
Thank you. Tot ziens.
Okay, thank you. Bye.